Hello guys, I'm here to talk to you about pie graphs now, and just one of the things that I think you might have trouble with is sort of finding the percentage of a quantity. Okay, so I'm just going to write that heading up there, percentage of a quantity. So that means of an amount. Okay, now we have done this before, but I think it's been a little while, so I thought I'd just make a sort of different video to go through this concept again. Okay, so you'll be using this sort of concept sometimes when you do pie charts, okay, which are the round ones, looks like a pie, makes me feel hungry when I look at it. So a type of pie chart that we've got here today, some information we can gather from this is that the situation, which I've just briefly drawn up, is a person, let's say it's James, earns $437 PW, means per week, okay? Let's say he's a really good sandwich maker, okay? So James, the excellent sandwich maker, makes $437 a week. That's pretty good for a sandwich maker. Okay, so out of this pie chart, we can tell the things that he spends money on, okay? And we can also visually see the biggest and the smallest amounts of his cost. Now, I'd like to think that we only spend 3% of our income on electricity, but I think it's probably more. So just ignore how unrealistic this could be and just concentrate on the figures. Okay, so 37% of his income goes towards food, 32% of his income goes towards rent, 3% on electricity, 10% on petrol, and 18% on entertainment. Now, chances are there are more categories that he might be spending money on in the real world, but as I said, we'll stick with this for today. So a type of question that you might get is, if he earned $437 per week, as we've said here, what are the actual amounts, not just percentages, but in dollar amounts that he would earn? Okay, chances are that you will have the use of a calculator, which would be really good. But what you're essentially doing is finding a percentage of a quantity, and in this case, a percentage of an income. Okay, so the way that we would do this is, for example, food. Okay, so food is 37%. We always write down as much working as we can. So the easiest way to do this, and there's a few different ways, the best one I reckon is similar to what we did of finding fractions of a quantity last term, is find what 1% is and then multiply it by the number that you're actually searching for, in this case 37. For food it might be 32 for rent, 10 for petrol, etc. Okay, so to find 1% of something, all you need to do is divide the figure, the number, by 100. Okay, you don't really need to use your calculator for that either. So in this case, 437, there's my decimal point. If I'm dividing, I'm going this way to the left, and I'm going two places in this case because there's two zeros. Okay, so we've done this before. 1, 2. 1% is $4.37. But in order to answer my question fully, I'm going to times that by 37 because I'm looking for 37% in this case. So you could either do that by setting it out like a sum, or you could be really lazy and be going 4.37 multiplied by 37. Okay? And in this case, I've got 161.69. And that stands for $161.69. Before you move on to the next question, the next part of the question, it's important always to check, is that a realistic answer in my mind? So we're thinking that it could be close to, well, let's say 30% or a third, if we're going to be, trying to do it realistically. And a third of 437 you'd be thinking is just over $100, maybe a bit more. So it is a realistic answer. Whether it's right, you can only really tell by using a calculator doing it properly, but it's in the ballpark, which is always good. If you had something like 1,000, okay, you've probably moved your decimal place too far or not enough, because it can't be 1,000 because he only earns $437 a week. Okay, so you'll do the same process for 32. So find what 1% is, or you've already done that. Times by 32 instead. Okay, times it by 18 instead. 10% you could actually do really quickly, and 3% timesing it by 3 as well. The only catch with these sorts of questions is if you get a decimal answer, which you probably will a lot of the time, that's fine for money because we have dollars and cents. Okay, but if you've got something that can't be divided into less than a whole, like a person, for example, like you can't really have 6.8 people for an answer. So if your question is to do with something that you can't divide into a decimal, you would need to consider, well, would I round that answer up or down? And to do that, you would need to make sure that you read the question carefully. Okay, so it might be how many people, just making this out of the top of my head, how many people would fit into a car? I don't know, something like that. And you know, in an unsafe way without seatbelts, you might have the answer of 6.8, but that would mean it can't be 7 because there's only 6.8 that fits. So you might go and round it down to 6. Okay? So just be really careful to use your sort of extensive maths brain with that question to make sure that your answer is sensible. Okay? So percentage of a quantity, find 1% and then times it by the figure that you're actually looking for. Okay, good luck.